Chapter 6 is the social and emotional chapter for early childhood. Talk about several things in this chapter. Talk about the self, talk about emotional development, talk a little bit about moral development, talk a little bit about parenting and maltreatment, and just a little bit on siblings. And also a little bit on peer relations, play, and television. For the self, this is going to be Erikson's third stage. Initiative versus guilt is the name of the stage. This is early childhood. It's 3 to 5. Basically, the kids begin to realize that they are a person. They know that they're an individual person and that other people are other people. They're trying to discover who they are. They're trying to go out into the environment and trying to do things. And they're trying to do things on their own initiative. Try to get involved with other kids socially, having conversations, having playtime. They want to go out and explore, try new things, use conversation, the games. All these things are what's called the initiative. They're taking the initiative to go out and learn about their environment and their place in that environment. Also, during this time, they see parents as awesome or omnipotent at this time, like awesome in the original version, awesome in that, yes, it's great, but awe in that it can inspire fear because this person is so much more powerful than they are. Related to these things, and we've talked about these before, theory of mind and self-conscious emotions. For the understanding of others, theory of mind helps for that to happen because it includes an understanding that others have their own emotions and their desires. We begin to, at this stage, begin to understand that people might lie, that people don't always have to tell the truth. Maybe that people will lie to avoid trouble. So that's during this time, like 3 to 5, this will happen. That being said, their perceptions are still a little bit off. They're a little bit primitive. Like if you ask them, did you steal that cookie? And they have cookie all over their face. And they're like, no, I didn't take it, but it's all over everywhere. And it's like so apparent how obvious it is. But to them, their reasoning abilities are a little bit primitive. They've already eaten the cookie. The cookie's gone. They can't see their face, so they don't understand that. Also, on the emotional development, the self-conscious emotion, we talked about this 1 or 2 chapters ago. These self-conscious emotions are pride, shame, embarrassment, guilt, and they do not appear until self-awareness develops and the idea that, yes, that you're a person, other people are other people. Emotions such as pride and guilt become more common during this time. Just yesterday, I got a great picture of Leif, and he was so proud of himself because he was drinking from a cup without a lid on it. And he was so proud, and it's so obvious in the picture that that's the emotion he's expressing. Also during this time, they begin to understand that their others' emotional state better. And this is good. So emotional understanding is linked to pro-social behavior and to empathy. Basically, once you're able to understand emotions in yourself, then you're able to understand them in others. So like if you feel bad and you're like, I know this feeling of feeling bad, I don't like it. And then you see someone else that's experiencing that feeling. You're like, oh, I know what that feels like. It doesn't feel good. And I would prefer that that person doesn't feel that emotion as well. Then that's going to be the empathy. That you don't want others feeling bad can lead to empathy. It can lead to pro-social behavior. Also, understanding others' emotion is linked to emotional regulation, which we've talked about before. The idea of controlling yourself is super important. Regulating is key to developing social competence, focusing attention, and controlling your behaviors. You've got to have this. Example, if you're angry, you don't just flip out and go crazy. You don't cry 20 times a day. That's regulating, that's controlling your emotions, and it's during this stage that you should start really trying to incorporate that into your kids' life, the idea that they're truly trying to control their emotional states. Not completely control them, but at least to understand them and understand like that anger and things of that nature and sadness, they're temporary states that you'll eventually work through. Parents can play an important role, obviously, in helping kids to regulate their emotions. There's a couple of approaches that are discussed in the book. Emotional coaching and emotion dismissing of the approach. For the emotion coaching, it's like it sounds. It's something that you actually want to do. You're going to monitor your kids' emotions, and you're going to use negative emotions as a teaching opportunity. You coach them in how to deal effectively with their emotions. Leif right now, he does have a little bit of a temper if things don't go his way immediately. And so, we have to try to talk him through that. We go, do some breathing, breathe in, breathe out, so he doesn't totally lose it. And so that is an emotional coaching approach. The emotion dismissing would be to deny. It's like, it's not that bad, quit that. to ignore, to just not even pay attention to them at all, or try to change their negative emotions. You want them to try to work through that emotion and learn how to do that when they're 3 to 5 and not, 50. Also, understanding emotions and controlling them, super important in this self-regulation process. So it is in a parent's best interest to be a coaching parent instead of a dismissing one. If you're dismissing it and you're just trying to ignore it and you're like, it'll go away eventually, maybe. But in the long run, again, what's easy versus what's hard, you definitely want to try to help your kids work through their emotions. All right, so that's the stuff on emotions. On the next slide, we'll start talking about moral development.